Greetings. Welcome to episode number 2 of Backflash Fridays with Marcus Sawyer, where we get into the nitty gritty, hence the title Backflash. By the way, we word cleared that on the last episode, so we're not going to word clear it again. Now, what we're going to be discussing today is a very controversial subject. And the only reason we're bringing it up is because I've noticed in my comment feed, Marcus in his comment feed, and elsewhere, that there apparently seems to be some ex-Scientology infighting going on. We have the Danny Masterson Retrial, which is kind of part of that. What's up, Marcus? I'll introduce you in a second, young man. You just keep your TRs in there. Keep staring me down. And we're going to, yes.
I'm looking at the comments.
Oh, yes. I got to pull those up. And we're going to be talking about OSA and how the three kind of interplay. Now, listen, guys, I've been guilty of this myself. We're going to talk about some of the history, which me and Marcus know, that goes way back before just little infighting as of late. There's a whole kind of, and this is what we're going to discuss today. Marcus Sawyer, as you guys know from previous interviews, was staff at Ventura mission, which is where I went. So we ran in the same circles, and the Ventura and the Melrose mission. And he dealt specifically with celebrities like Danny. I ran with the celebrity crew. Danny Masterson's mother was my acting manager for a few years, and Alana and Jordan Masterson were in my class. So I'm familiar with that clique and the celebrity side from a public point of view. So what we'd like to do is invite you guys to ask any questions that you like, to air stuff out. But the overall theme, because as we said, there's a history with when you come out, they have, if you don't deprogram, you can have a tendency to, did you want to say hi, man?
No, I'm just doing the emotes with them.
Oh, okay.
As they say hi, I'm waving, and
all right. I can't pull them up at the same time.
No, it's okay. You keep going. I'm interacting with them.
Okay, fair enough. Anyways, so there is the programming that carries over. Marcus did a video on his channel called The Freak Show back in 2017 and kind of encapsulates. Here's the deal, guys. When you come out of Scientology, if you are a Sea Org member, which is what most of the channels are created by, they had, not so much anymore because it's changing, a tendency to perhaps look down on people that were just staff members, or me that was just a public member for X amount of years because we didn't have the rank. So short of deprogramming, there can and has been for freaking years, going all the way back to ARS days. That's alt religion Scientology, about these kind of cliques or whatever. But since that's changed, particularly with Aaron Smith Levin, like literally exploding his channel and getting so many other people to start the channel, the SP community, SPTV community has been growing. It's been an amazing experience for me personally. I've seen things change, as has Marcus, and we want to discuss that. So please bring forward your questions about, about that subject, about Masterson, and also any infighting does play into OSA. We'll talk about that too, how there's been more troll accounts created and more heat in general, and dividing the community. All that does is play into their hands. But overall, the theme that we're going to be covering is, and we want your guys' input on this, how to unite the community, how to bring us all together. We don't have to all like each other, but, and like I said, I've been guilty of this myself. Let us not air our dirty laundry live, because it creates, like I said, endless comments that I have to then answer, emails. Hey, what's going on with Aaron and Tony? Blah, 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 right? But the main point is everybody has something to offer. So Joe Laurie Drake was kind enough to assemble all the SP TV channels and channels that cover Scientology. This is posted on the community tab, so you can go check it out. And we have everybody from the former Sea Org members like Aaron Smith Levin and Mike Rinder and the Headleys, all the way down to Poe, retired law enforcement, who's doing some awesome work on Scientology. John Atack, one of the few former public members who's an absolute encyclopedia. Shelton, Mark Bunker, on and on. It's just incredible. We got people covering everything from Narconon, and like I said, to, Alex, apostate Alex is a ex staff member, blah, blah, blah. So the point being is everybody has something to contribute. There's no reason for the infighting, and all it does is dilute the cause. So Marcus, I'm going to hand it over to you. What do you have to say on said subject, since you started kind of speaking out well before it became the thing to do, shall we say?
On YouTube. I mean,
yeah,
there were people who were for, like Jerry Armstrong, that comes to mind, like super early stuff to free would be I don't know if I would have had the courage to do what he did. Um, but and there are others too, Arnie Lerma, and
Yeah. Oh, I forgot him. Sorry. Damn it. I got to put his site up on that. I can't.
actually, it's a fairly decently sized list,
Mhm.
people, before YouTube, but then the stuff was uploaded. In fact, there was a whole very well produced series about how it's a cult. I forget what it's called. I don't even know if it's on YouTube anymore, but they showed the TRs and they showed how they were hypnotic and sensory reduction techniques. So yeah, this is 2015, May of 2015, but 2012 was whenever I had seen Going Clear when that came out, and I had like pretty much decided my doubt condition, but uh which I was using to decide whether or not I was going to leave or stay in Scientology as a public because I got
Mhm.
honorable discharge. Um
Right. And we've
for,
covered that.
yeah,
That's
and then they tried to recover me for years and years. So it was like, from 2012 to 2013, it probably 2013 is when I was like, okay, this is it. I had talked to Pierre ETA. I talked to him a few times. I talked to, and I was talking on the ESMB,
right. I remember.
as there were
That's
two.
ex-Scientology message board, by the way, to let you guys know, which was the precursor to kind of when all the channels started blowing up. Sorry about that.
No, no problem. I mean, this is the history, right? So the ESMB was a place where you could go if you didn't want to like go on YouTube and sort of vent and heal in a community of ex-Scientologists or try to, or discuss things. There were also some people in the community who had worked with Hubbard at St. Hill,
Yeah.
um, psychologists, psychiatrists, and stuff on the boards, but they left. Many of them left, but some of them had accounts, and they would come back and make statements about Hubbard, and those should be archived in the current ESMB. But when the transfer was made, I'm not sure if all of it survived. But so I was posted in 2013 on the boards,
Right.
and then you know 2014 I was they were in a heavy recovery phase, which means they're trying to get me to decide. They want me to let them know they gave me a committee of evidence. They sent me that in the mail, and then I got a call from Dominic saying, you're going to come to your committee of evidence, and I'm
Dun
like,
dun
nope,
dun.
no, not going to be there. So
Wow.
he was like, okay, got it. And then not long after that was the end of 2014, I made the video, and that 3-hour video. But I had spoken with my wife at the time, and she was encouraging me to go back, and I just could not do it, and neither could she with the marriage anymore, apparently. So I was in a real you can actually the chronicles on my there that's all the playlists are on my page is the
I'll pull that up
chronicles.
while you're talking.
Yeah, those are just those periods in between the divorce, the high conflict divorce, where I could speak about what I was feeling and going through. So it's a real raw emotional experience, really, that you're watching. And but I felt like it was more appropriate to just put it out there into the unknown than to act it out amongst my friends and family. They just wouldn't
Understood.
understand it.
Totally. I'd made that mistake myself.
Yeah, yeah. So 2015, yeah.
What was the kind of vibe, compared to how it is nowadays? What was it like? Did you feel any kind of compartmentalization about your experience being made less by the heavy hitters that have been speaking out? What was the whole vibe, back then?
Well, I had heard that Leah Remini had left
Mhm.
through back channels, as I've heard
They
just
call it.
yeah, they call it.
They call it,
So,
and they yeah.
um, the infamous they.
Yep.
So I was like, I felt a little safe. I was like, okay, if she's in production, if she's in pre-production, then that's where a lot of attention is going to be focused. You
And do you
know,
remember everybody wanted to be on that show, Marcus? You know,
I
everybody
mean,
was
I sure
writing
as
to
hell
her, and
didn't.
I didn't either. I didn't write to anybody. Yeah. But
But
I mean, people were definitely trying to get on that show, and understandably
really,
so, because oh yeah, there was kind of a fighting match, dude, to see who can get on, and some people were left out, and that
really,
should have been included. And think about them; they're producing, and they have all this pool to choose from, and they can
I
only
had
pick.
no
It was
idea.
a whole drama, dude.
I had no idea about
That's
that.
because you're not seeking fame and fortune, and but it wasn't all that, because some people like finally we have a
Well, I don't know
chance
about.
to.
I'm not seeking fame and fortune.
Okay, I don't want to speak for you. Maybe you are. You're
I
a
mean,
terrible man in that
music.
case. Just kidding.
No, music.
I'm
I just
just
wanted
kidding.
to share my music and not get paid 0.00001
I
cent per
understand.
stream.
Here's his channel, by the way, guys.
Somehow. Yeah, that's the channel. And then if you go to the playlist, there's just chronicles. You've got from 2015. I did some videos. There's 9 videos there. There's 2017, 23 videos in 2017.
2015.
The 2017 stuff has all the Danny Masterson stuff because that's when all that started.
Right. Can I just tell
surfacing.
people to go over to that real quick? He has some
Sure.
incredible videos back in 2017 that are still maybe even more valid today, talking out about it before it was safe. I was like paranoid watching these videos, dude, a while ago, going, damn, dude, you were on the curve early, because it was dangerous to talk about the shit you're talking about in these videos in 2017. It's not what we have today at all.
I mean, I don't want to give the impression that I'm in constant danger, you know? I mean,
I'm just saying it took a lot of courage to say what you said so openly. You know why I say that, Marcus? Because I did a video on Danny Masterson, and I was very careful about the words that I chose. And even then I was like, is this going to get me in trouble? Did I say the word allegedly? All that. You just kind of spilled it out, I thought, without any worry in your mind. It's kind of impressive.
yeah, so that first one, that's 2 hours. Okay.
Mhm.
And then the second one, Ruining Careers, that's the Merrick's family and Alex Merrick's the guy that I did the TRs with. And
Oh, right. We
yeah,
talked about that last time.
screaming the N word in the course room.
Right.
And responsibility, my take on it, hot take on it at the time, because I just started therapy. You know, the concept of responsibility and how that is changed through.
Real quick, Marcus, sorry to interrupt. It's in Theta's channel, a link in the description box on all the videos that we do together. Me and Marcus are doing every Friday at 2 p.m. So after this video is finished, you can jump in the description box and you can go to his channel. And it's really hard to find, guys. You have to type in Theta. And thank you for the user who pointed this out, because you can't find it if you just type in Theta or in Theta YouTube channel. What you have to do is type in Theta and then go to the filter where it says channel, so that it'll pull up his channel. And even then, it's touch and go. I don't know why that is, bro. I mean, I've never seen any, even I didn't run into those problems. They just took my channel down. But I mean, I didn't.
I mean, who
wasn't-
knows, dude? Like
really
I said,
bizarre, man.
in the green room before we went on the broadcast, I had my malware stuff flagging up for a rootkit and a Trojan and PUPs, like all these malicious pieces of browser software. So, you know, I really need to get a Linux firewall set up like I had before, because there was nothing getting through it at all.
Goldie will take care of that, by the way, Zero, I'm sure. And if not, like I said, please check the description box.
So yeah, and then psych product, you know, I had to have an evaluation for my I was being sued for divorce. So I just thought it was funny to call myself a psych product, because I was actually okay with that. And then stages of recovery. I actually go through cult stages of recovery from some resources that are linked in the description. They're not mine, but they're pretty good guideposts for going through stages of recovery.
Are you running ads, young man? How are you even monetized?
I'm not running ads.
This is another thing, guys. Like, I'm not monetized. I mean, I qualify, but I'm not going to monetize it. Marcus
can't monetize.
Marcus can't monetize because he has 512, and you have to hit 1,000 subscribers and get 4,000 hours of watch time, which isn't. It's kind of challenging. And yet, if you have videos that are like his, what is this, 1 minute and 39 seconds, bro? Or is that the ad?
No, that's the ad.
How, dude?
Music.
Marcus, let me check something out here real quick. Sorry, guys. I just need to know this real quick. because what they normally do is they only put ads on videos that are short, like 8 minutes and shorter. But of course, since your channel's
20
weird,
minutes.
20 minutes, and they decide to put ads on. Nice. Excellent
Weird.
background, by the way. Next.
Yeah. That video kind of goes through the steps. I put that in the background, and it's
nice.
sort of
I like it. Very good.
Whatever. That was produced at the brew shop, my stepfather's old place, and I had a little green screen in the back where I ran my business. I was working 5 jobs, whatever. How many jobs? Remember that the skit on SNL? Hey, man, you only got 15 jobs.
No, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Perhaps it's enough marijuana.
Someone out there in the comments is going to know what I'm talking about. Hey,
by the way, if you guys are joining us because people are filtering in, today's discussion is about the Danny Masterson retrial and any questions that you have about that, to clear up some of the infighting and to show you some of the history of that, which me and Marcus are talking about. And also, any questions you have about OSA and how they kind of play into that. It's not a big deal, guys. We're not trying to blow anything out of proportion. We just figured this week we'd go live because, as I said earlier, a lot of people's comment section, mine included, are being bombarded with this, this fucking thing, which Aaron nipped in the butt anyways, recently, just by deciding to basically not talk about it anymore and carry on. And what we're talking about is trying to unite the community. What do you guys suggest if this flares up in the comment section, if we get emails and stuff, how would you guys recommend handling that? Because it really diverts everything and it completely plays into OSA. We have an incredible community, particularly because of Aaron's hard work, who encourage a lot of people to start channels and stuff. So it's been an amazing, amazing community, and which makes it easier to infiltrate and to derail. And there's been very little of that anyway. So just wanted to, that's what we're discussing today. And it's a Q&A. So this is a chance to ask your questions, but keeping the bigger picture of, we're not here to tabloid fucking talk about everything, but there is in fact a history when we come out of the cult, as me and Marcus are talking about a hierarchy and minus deprogramming. Yes, some of that Sea Org mentality, which is most of the channels are about, that can carry over, but it doesn't matter. I have my personal opinions. Marcus has his personal opinions. Some people we like, some people we don't. All that can be aired behind the scenes in emails. And I've learned from personal experience, and I think Aaron has too, if you air dirty laundry live and you attack somebody, it just dilutes the community. We look like idiots. And then, you do influence people. So people will go around. I'll give you a personal example, so it's not vague. I've said some things about Andrew Gold. Now, I'm not the greatest fan because, in my opinion, I felt like I was a little hurt, man, because we did a really serious interview and he clickbaited the crap out of the titles. Now, in a new unit of time, as they say in Scientology, I don't have a problem with that because you know what? He gets a lot of eyeballs on that. I could have calmed my emotions down and kept the relationship. And, I've been growing too. If you guys go back and watch the very first video I put, I thought I was totally healed and yet I'm angry, chain smoking. That'll never go away. But you can see the change. So as I've aired dirty laundry, definitely. I haven't done an attack video. Like I said, I'll make little snipey comments about Aaron before, about Mike Render and all that. My own judgment. Why not this, that, and the other thing? But I've learned it, and not only doesn't matter, everybody has something to contribute. We're all on the same page. And as long as we keep the eyes focused on Scientology, that will keep this community growing even longer. I'm so sorry to go on a ramble, Marcus. I just wanted to let people know that are new what we're talking about and to encourage, if there is any questions that you guys have or anything that's lingering. Marcus has a background in dealing with celebrities on the staff. I ran with the celebrity crew at Celebrity Center, and this kind of ties into the Masterson. Please ask any questions. We're not just going to go on a rant, but please pick it up, sir. What the hell is that?
Sorry, that's a plane. We have the Louis Armstrong International Airport like about a mile away, and that sounded like a 747 coming in to land.
Speaking of smoking, yes, please. I was going to say we don't encourage smoking, but I can't say that with a straight face. I'm not even going to quit, guys. I don't want to. I get so much shit from people from smoking, especially in LA, since I'm like the last smoker in LA. Everybody's like politically correct.
You should write a book.
Part of me purposely wants to smoke just to irritate
the most
people.
bitter motherfucker.
It's a great title for a movie. I sit on the corner, guys, and I'm like, fuck you, man. Watch me smoke. Yeah, that's a great title for a movie. The Last Smoker in LA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A book, movie, whatever. Book, adaptation, movie. That's how it goes, right?
Exactly. Squash beef like you Hyde and Kelso were still friends after Hyde slept with the Aggie. Do we have to use a Masterson reference? Look, now
Okay.
what I wanted to say on that's a great point that you brought up, Bill, because everybody obviously is going to have their own opinions. Plenty of people don't like me and all that, and that's fine. I mean, nobody's going to get along, but we just air it behind the scenes through emails. And like I said, I learned a lesson, and not only reflects badly on me and the person that's talking shit, it people listen, and so it gets spread like wildfire. So I'm going to start, as Aaron said, be the change you want to be. I've gotten off my overts and withholds, and I'm not going to trash talk anybody anymore because I'm learning. Marcus, do you have any overts and withholds you'd like to get off in that area? I'm getting a read there.
No.
No.
I'm still reading Squash Beef, how Hyde and after
Chad, I
Kelso.
try not to smoke during certain live streams. Anyway, so Marcus, could you give an honest, again, like we're not here to tabloid talk, but I do want to talk about the fact that there has been a hierarchy that's disintegrating. And a lot of these beefs, this minor one, let me just show you what the hell we're talking about. I don't even want to give attention to it, but Aaron already handled it. And he's a perfect example of, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, about exactly what we're talking about and how to handle stuff like this, because it came up on his live stream the other day. So check this out. And he got asked this multiple times, and he handled it the same way each time. Nip it in the butt, carry on.
And they're paying for that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they're
I'm
super
sure
chatting these questions. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's see this. Let's see.
All right, check it out, guys.
Here. Fine. Travis Bowman, what's the beef between you and Tony Ortega? I asked this in a super chat on Monday night, but didn't get the answer. What's the deal, AA Run? Well, I don't want to keep rehashing this thing. I did a video detailing some of the issues about this, at least, and those issues that I detailed in that video was only relating to the Masterson case. The issues go much deeper, and there's just no point getting into it, to be honest. Who gives a shit if I don't like him? Who gives a shit if he doesn't like me? I've made it very clear how I feel about it. And to be perfectly honest, it's just not entirely appropriate for me to broadcast all the reasons why. It's just not. So I didn't want to ignore your super chat, but that's the best I'm going to do for right now.
Dude, is he in therapy?
I know. He said on Lex Friedman he doesn't want to do the therapy thing, but dude, he's growing.
Whatever
We're
he's
all
doing
growing. It's fucking awesome, dude. I love that response, by the way.
Yeah, that was a great response.
That's perfect. That's the way to handle that.
Can I comment on that?
Please do.
So, I've spoken with Aaron about Tony multiple times.
That's right.
Prior to going to Las Vegas, where I'd spoken to him about Sandrine Litchfield multiple
which
times,
is on your channel.
Which is on my channel. Should be, 2017. Those details that he disclosed to me, I would agree with him 100%. It's like, it doesn't need to be, it doesn't have to be addressed, because it's literally like just airing someone's dirty laundry. Exactly. And it doesn't serve the purpose of any of what we're doing by speaking out against or talking about, not necessarily against even, because as we've already done in just a couple of broadcasts, just, showed how certain concepts and principles and whatever aren't innately harmful, but used in a specific way are incredibly harmful.
Definitely. That's a good point.
Exposing that Scientology uses it in a very harmful way is an altruistic goal.
Yes.
And so that's why people say, well, good job. You're so courageous and all this whatnot. It's like, yeah, okay, but this is what I'm wanting you to pay attention to, not me going, holding a torch or something.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about the how it's being used. And I'll leave it at that on my comment for that video. So that's the point that we all should sort of strive for, is fingers pointing at the moon, but the people are looking at the finger instead of the moon,
Exactly.
Yeah.
With this recent thing, just to clarify, guys, I'm not going to speak for Aaron or Tony. I've had both of them on my channel. Aaron was kind enough to reach out to me when he didn't have to, and that was awesome. Tony, I had a great conversation with. I think he's an excellent reporter on breaking down. I mean, the dude's been covering Scientology forever. And I know that, like I said, I don't want to harp on this, but I think one of the things that why Aaron might be calming down is because he did make some things that felt were not accurate, were a little gossipy. For example, you know, this thing with Bixler, who supposedly was being blackmailed by Ortega in order to have the exclusive. I don't see how that would be true personally. She would not have the balls to take on Danny Masterson in court and allow Tony Ortega to blackmail her with something so simple. If you're going to make accusations like that, you have to back it up and prove it. Otherwise, because I got many emails over this, and then I have to explain and waste time. And like I said,
that's Dev T.
It's just Dev T. And also, I try to be, again, everybody has their own style. He's super charismatic. He's got a great personality. I personally am a little more reserved, and I'm very careful on the information I put out, because those videos are going to be up forever. So you better be accurate. And if you make a mistake, you got to come clean with it eventually or whatever. So everybody has their own style.
That's right. Definitely.
And one other thing I want to say, and again, keeping in mind the bigger picture, everybody's growing. It's an amazing community that's kicked off mostly because of Aaron. I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. And there's just an amazing thing happening. And I'm telling you guys, I've seen a number of sock puppet accounts pop up. Unusual things happening on my end, just on my little small channel and with other people. So OSA loves little things like this, and they can actually take something that we don't even want to fight on and expand it. This is what they used to do on ARS. So
no, they do it in the comment channels.
They still do it, but the community is really strong. I'm telling you, dude, I've never seen anything like this before. The amount of healing, the amount of change that I've gone through just in the last few months, because it really feels safe. You know, he inspired a lot of people to start channels. And with so many eyes on it, it's so different than 6 months ago, man. There was only freaking five channels. It was me, John Atack, Karen De La Carriere were surviving Scientology. Chris Shelton has been doing it forever. And then Aaron would post on growing up in Scientology once in a while. The videos were always popular. People loved him, but he wouldn't post often. So when he, you know, jumped on there, we've got the Headleys now. There's another Janice Gilham Grady and Mark Fisher now have a channel, which is unbelievable in the beginning of content
video,
already.
You showed me how they had that organized. That's amazing.
Let me show you that, guys. Again, if you wouldn't mind, go
substat to the max, man. Like we're 42x, and
I know. Check this out. And this was created. Joe Lori Drake took the time to put this together, and she emailed it to me, Alex, and somebody else.
Planet.
So check this out. Remember how, you know, it's basically about 5 channels more or less, guys. And then here we have all the channels that are speaking out, and there's some really good ones here. Some haven't been posting for a while, but I wanted to add everything here. And Joe got most of them, but if I missed any guys, which you have been awesome, let me know and I'll add everybody here. But let me just show you some of these people compared to those 5 that I just told you. So, you know, we have Aaron, Mike Rinder, Mark and Claire Headley, whose channels are who got lots of eyes on. And then again, you know, you might not like it's not my style. I don't want to talk shit about, you know, Miscavige and make little jokes about him or whatever, but that's just me, man. I have a completely different viewpoint coming out as the public and what I want to do. And some people will hate my style and absolutely love that. Right. So pick what do you like? Yeah. Alex is a former staff. He just came out. John Poe, retired law enforcement. We got him now. Kelly Copter is making the rounds, and she has an amazing story. John Atack and Chris Shelton, the original OGs. Mark Bunker, of course. Leah Remini put Scientology on the map with their series. That really kicked things off. Karen De La Carriere, Jeffrey Augustine started a channel. He has a crap load of knowledge, both of them do, about Scientology. Their experiences are super valid. Amy Scobie now. Ron Miscavige Sr., RIP, he's up there because his information needs to be up there. We got Gary Jackson Moorhead, Trinity, Mangotology. He may or may not be coming back. I'm trying to get him on the show. Reckless Ben, of course. Angry Thetan covers the drone shots. Nasty Nathaniel and Angry Gay Pope do the audits. Clearwater Chad for humor. Tony Ortega and Andrew Gold are journalists. Ian Rafalco started a channel and it came out. I'm sure you guys know who he is. Nora Ames, Tori Chrisman, Steve Hassan, on and on.
Shit.
I mean, I even threw an HD tutor here, guys, because anybody that's covering cults and Scientology gets a thing here. And then we have Narcanon and Scientology Chronicles, who hasn't posted for a couple years, but nonetheless, you guys get the idea. And I also threw in Scientology's channel, just to make it fair and balanced. I mean, they have something to say too, right, Marcus?
Yeah.
So look at that expansion just in the last several months. It's freaking remarkable.
You can't That's
Did I?
tone 40 intention.
Fuck, man. I didn't have that
Command
added.
intention.
Marcus, I didn't have that added to the stream when I was just scrolling down that, did I?
CI in the good way, not the bad way.
Fuck. Guys, I thought that was screen sharing. Fuck, I was scrolling down this thing. Here
Oh
is
no,
the,
it's fine, but that's the list that you just
Okay.
read off.
Okay,
Scroll
there it
down.
is, guys. It's on the community post. Please add more to it. And also subscribe to all these channels if you don't mind. And let's give Scientology not the middle finger, because we're not trying to attack them. But and Aaron made another good point the other day in regards to what we're talking about right now. They probably won't listen to ex-Scientology channels necessarily, but it came up in the chat the other day on his channel where someone had a brilliant idea of by getting onto Lex Freeman, by getting onto that other podcast that he did that was really popular. There's going to be Scientologists that don't watch ex-Scientology content, but they will stumble upon, you know, the Joe Rogans and all that. So that's a
They'll have an
brilliant way.
exposure.
Exactly.
There's
And
something I missed in this session. Is there a withhold that I've missed? Do I have miss withhold? I'd like to indicate there's a miss withhold.
I would be fine never hearing that question ever again. Even 15 years later, bro, those questions still put me right back into Scientology mode. Again, guys, if you guys have any questions regarding the Masterson trial, as repeated many times, but new people are joining. Marcus was staff and dealt with the celebrities in Ventura Melrose mission. I was public and ran in those circles with that little clique. And any questions to air out on so we can nip this stupid infighting in the butt, which I think has already been handled.
I think it's handled. I mean, I messaged.
Would you like to write a success story?
Yeah.
No, please. What were you going to say? What were you going to say, bro?
No, after the Lex Fridman interview, I messaged Aaron. I said, man, that inspired the shit out of me. Really did. Just to see him, you know, on Lex, you know, and have, because I'm pretty sure he feels the same way. Like Lex is an incredible interviewer.
I agree. I like his style, man. He's
so
to
sit down with him would almost be like sitting down with a psychologist AI robot or something, you know?
It is. That's a great analogy. He's like the Chat GPT, isn't he?
He's like the human form of it.
He is, dude.
Yeah.
He totally is.
But
you were talking about, okay, so with that out of the way, we can talk about the sticks, but keeping the forest in mind, because I do want to say something on that just to clear some of the air. In Tony's defense, because he's gotten a lot of shit. Like I said, he's, you know, I hate this word, by the way. I apologize in advance that this is going to come out of my mouth, guys, but I didn't make it up. The term influencer, it's got to be the worst, most arrogant, narcissistic word ever. As an influencer and Aaron having a big following, they definitely listen to what he says and then go attack Tony, which is what inspired this week's video, because I kind of felt bad for Tony. If anything, I have my own issues with Tony. Tony and Aaron have blocked me on Facebook in the past. So, and we've gotten over that. So it doesn't really matter. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the nitty gritty, I think, you know, what Aaron did by, you know, throwing Tony under the bus for a video straight is kind of make me feel bad for Tony and made me go, wow, he actually responded to that. And I have more respect for him now, because he didn't fire back. He just carried on with the work. Yeah. And you know what? That was kind of a really mature move by him. I just want to say he
has to make decisions sometimes about, you know, information sources. And as a journalist, sometimes that means it may end up hurting someone's feelings. That's just the raw meat of it. In his selected field that he's chosen to go into, with discovering Scientology. Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher would know the Jane Does. I'm almost positive. And I know Aaron covered that. So I don't know for sure.
No doubt.
That would probably be true.
Absolutely,
I mean, they're so close. Ashton and him are like brothers, you know, so anything that Danny has done.
Every
Ashton
Christmas show. You remember the Christmas shows at CC?
I actually have a video that I'm doing on that. I'm putting together all their stupid little, what Marcus is talking about. I could probably play. I don't want to risk copyright.
Don't.
Ashton would show up and his crew, and this is how they get a lot of celebrities to either support Scientology if they don't want to be a part of it, or maybe even get them into it. But the whole 70s show crew would always show up at the Christmas parties at Celebrity Center here in LA to raise money for PAL, Police Activities League. And this is how Scientology also gets the LAPD in their pocket. It's a complete payoff. And they definitely do
every
have
year.
the LAPD in his pocket. Wow, this is really interesting. I'm trying to keep up with the questions here, guys. But Marcus, did you want to, oh, let me just finish the point real quick. I think Tony handled that really well. And there were some unfounded accusations made by Aaron. You got to back up what you're saying with receipts and everything. You can't just speculate because, like I said, it increases the drama. And I'm pretty sure Aaron has nipped that in the bud and is totally aware of that now. Like I said, I don't want to speak for him, but Tony, you know what Aaron did is he was around 33,000 subscribers, give or take, and where his channel started to blow up. And this is a clever move, and it's I think it's legitimate personally. But if I was Tony, I probably would have said something, and the fact that he didn't was kind of showed. I thought that took restraint. And it was kind of the better way to go. He took Tony's Substack articles like around 4 or 5 a.m. when Scientology really started to get on the map when the Danny Masterson trial started, not the retrial. And what was that? Less than a year ago, guys? So Law and Crime Network started covering it. They're a big YouTube channel. Other true crime YouTube channels all of a sudden coincided with Scientology because of Masterson. So right around that time, Tony's numbers and everything were blowing up, and he was kind of the big cheese. And his reporting was fantastic because, as you know, what he would do is he'd go into the courtroom and he'd give 2 or 3 reports right live, right after coming out. So it was like being in the courtroom. He could beat all the other reporters, etc. So what Aaron would do is Tony would put out Substack articles around 4 or 5 a.m. my time. That would be around 7 Florida time. And then 2 hours later, he'd make a video on it, get tons of views, make lots of money, and not give Tony any credit and talk shit about him. So Tony eventually called it out without saying any names. He said, those of you who are using my content, could you please just give me credit? That's all he was asking for, right? I was trying to put myself in his shoes, and I'm like, I would have been really upset because I'd feel like someone's making money. And, the subscribers went from 33 to around 70 or 80 before Aaron started just taking off with his own content, as well as the Tony stuff. So he built his own thing. It's clever. It got more eyes on it. It's not illegal. But, I thought Tony definitely had the right to go, hey, dude, stop doing that, or at least fucking give me credit. So that's what I think the issue is, man. And in a nutshell, I'm sure it goes deeper than that, but there's a phrase,
Sure.
the overt does speak too loudly. So if you're attacking someone like that, and again, guys, I speak from personal experience. I gave you some examples before. Nobody's freaking perfect. We're all traumatized, and we're all
God
growing.
forbid we're human beings.
I know. You live and you learn. That's all I wanted to say on that. And like I said, they're big boys. They can handle it. But that's I think why there was a little more animosity than needed to be.
I don't think Tony was the designated pool reporter. No.
He is a designated pool reporter, and I believe him. I believe him when he say that he was giving out the information. There was another squabble that happened where Aaron, accused Tony of not giving him the things. There wasn't any evidence to back that up too. I think that he did, like he said, he's required to do that actually.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to get off on track with this, that, and the other thing. He handled it fine. I'm sure that's done. And like we were talking about earlier, I have my opinions about certain people. And he has certain opinions. You guys have certain opinions. Some people hate us, like us. It doesn't matter. The point is, handle it on back channels and emails. Let us not air our dirty laundry and work as a community. Because, man, the amount of eyes and pressure and the amazing community that exists here is a real actual challenge finally to this cult. And the more popular it becomes here, the more government officials and the people that can really actually do something about this will take notice, because it will be on their radar. It's not a little niche anymore, at least for the time being. So there's an opportunity to really go for the goal here, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's like a steam effect. Like steam
exactly.
Engine. You have Going Clear, you have Leah Remini stuff, like pressure is building. Then when it starts to spill over into the civilian population, then it's like, not only do you have like very clear examples of and testimony and accounts from people who've been interviewed for these films and television shows, but you have just ordinary average guys like me and you, brother. Just doing their thing on YouTube and more, popping up. That list is amazing.
Yeah, I know. And
someone said 100 in chat. There are some pretty good comments.
Can I interject real quick, Marcus? I told you I wasn't going to interrupt. I'm working on it. It's a terrible thing to do, but I have to point this out by Goldie. Yes, Goldie, I know that that's now Joe, and I'll add her to the community post so that people know that that's her. She's so sweet. She didn't even care. And
She's the one that compiled the list.
Remade them on. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
And you know, we're talking about back channel stuff and doing things behind the email that, well, this is the opposite of airing dirty laundry. Many people, especially apostate Alex and people in the community like her, don't even necessarily want to be known. I hope you don't mind, Joe, that I put that out there. I want to give credit where credit's due, but there's so many people that are helping behind the scenes, just so you guys know, that are helping with this community, like taking the time. I mean, how freaking long did that take, Joe, to assemble that list? And then everybody immediately said, you missed this, that, and the other thing. So the resources from the people, they know more about Scientology and what we're missing in many cases than even we do as ex-Scientologists. I can't tell you enough, brother, speaking out for years and then being under the radar since I left in 2008, just how much of a change there really is and how incredible it is and healing personally, because it's never been like this before, dude. It's mostly just been what we're talking about on a lesser scale with the minor infighting recently. It's been like that big time on the message boards and in the community in general, because of the my dick is bigger than your dick kind of thing. I was in the Sea Org. You were just a public. You were just a staff. It doesn't matter. You could be traumatized by being in Scientology for 2 freaking weeks, or you can be a Sea Org member and recover immediately. There's a lot of variables. And one of the main things coming out is because they make us into secondary sociopaths, which you pointed out brilliantly in that video, the freak show, by the way, Marcus. I mean, you really hammered that home. We are made into sociopaths. So it takes us varying degrees when we come out to de-sociopath ourselves. And it's often hard to see that within yourself. Hence, I'm always learning shit too. And Marcus, I was convinced the first time I started talking out, but since I'm having to go back and re-edit these Raising a Secret Society series videos and put them back up, I'm like, oh my God, it's
a different
unhealed. Person. It's completely different. It was frightening to watch.
That's why I put Chronicles, because that person is like not me, it's me going through this metamorphosis, of untangling this massive amount of conceptual ideas through language. And that's why I tell people, if you're in a cult or a culture that has all these specific words, like loaded language, find different words for it and just stop speaking the language for a couple of years, and then you can revisit it, because you and I, we still use some of the words because they do have use, but they're not loaded anymore. They don't have the trigger, the charge, whatever you want to call it, the factor of some of these words were used to inspire fear, or the threat of something being taken away from you or something like that. So you don't want to be using words that are self-triggering. When you come out, you're vulnerable. You don't want to see infighting. It makes outside seem just like, and the environment is way safer when you come out, but it doesn't feel that way.
Exactly.
It feels actually really, really, really hostile, everything. Because I think that may be because of the internal concepts that you had built in that culture, and so going outside of it, it feels like you're stepping outside into the apocalypse.
Absolutely, man.
Unprotected, with no armor, no guns, no gas, nothing.
That's why also, guys, it's really important. Like I said, what are your comments, and how do you suggest nipping it in the butt? Because this won't be the last time that it happens, and it really does derail things. We are trauma survivors, and Scientology has the most incredible set of tools to really shut your heart down and to make you hate. And we can often have massive, massive blind spots about still acting the same way. That's why I push the deprogramming part. And that's sort of what I'm doing, because it affected me so much. But then I watch other people. And again, I have my own opinions. I can definitely see the Sea Org mentality, the very thing that I hated when I was in public Scientology. Because these guys, not all of them, but they like power, And I was like, crikey, I could never fricking become a Sea Org member because I can't be that much of a dick. So if we come out of this, give us some time to decompress, because it can be a lifelong process, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, how are you doing in your decompression, by the way, young man, with all these years later?
I mean, I feel like I'm okay. I've been in therapy since 2015, since I started that video. And have had different therapists, but that's for the issues that they could help me with, like at a certain point they're like, yeah, with your history, like I can help you with this and this and this, but at a certain point I have to see someone else. But there was a LPC from Louisiana named Don Short who initially helped me. He was he grew up a Mennonite.
What's
So
that?
it's sort of like Amish, I'm from what I understand. And kind of they make beer and stuff, Mennonite brews. It's like
nice.
a monk brew, and they sell it, and they they
Cult
live
that
in,
makes its own brew. There's something that Hubbard didn't think of.
yeah, they live in the woods, and
Nice.
they're kind of like the Amish, from what I understand. Anyways, he understood the integration part. Like, that was my first guy that I saw, was Don Short. He kind of helped me. He wasn't a Steve Hassan, but he, I definitely mentioned his work, and he did some reading and stuff before our sessions. And, we approached it from just cognitive behavioral therapy, integration, reintegration into the world. Start on with the small things, very, very small things. And
did you feel threatened at all because of the hierarchy that was existing more prominent when you were coming out about not being heard in even the X community? And did that push you further into the bubble in any way? Did you feel that?
Into the
Did
bubble.
you feel safe reaching out at that time and stuff? And did you feel like it was another cult, or did you feel like welcomed? And
I
because
don't
you're
know if I
talking about
felt.
coming into the apocalypse and
Yeah.
how vulnerable you already are.
Well, that
And
was
then
2005 when I felt like that.
2015, you mean, right?
No.
What do you
When
mean 2005?
2005, when you leave the cult premises,
Right.
for me,
Okay,
because I was
that's what you
staff.
got it.
But I had the Scientology tools and tech and all that, and I'm in the apocalypse, and I'm using the tools, and I'm like, I'm good. I got the tools, I got the tech, I got all this stuff. And at a certain point, it's like, wait a minute, no, this ain't working. This ain't none of it is any good. I'm not happy, and neither is my wife. And she was happy. She was actually happier whenever I was doing the tech and applying the tech and all that. And she was not a Scientologist, as far as I know. She did a comm course, but that was it. She was one of those people that said, "Oh, that," she said it really helped her, and I think it actually did, because she was more talkative. She's not talkative at all, but she was more talkative and more social after that comm course, because it the way they explained the ARC triangle made sense to her.
Yeah, it made
It's
sense
very
to me too.
mechanical, very like the basic building blocks, and that made more conceptual sense to her. And I do think it does make a conceptual sense of sorts.
That's the main tool I would use to try to sell my WOG friends. I'd just sit them down and let me show you something real basic here. When you increase the infinity, the reality and the communication also comes up, equaling understanding. By the way,
Yeah.
Marcus, when I would do that, they would pretend like they were interested, but I can see them scooting towards the door.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, man. We just talk. We just talk.
Oh my God. It's so good not having to sell this bullshit to a single soul ever. Guys, we try to keep these down to an hour, and if there's enough interest, and we also kind of had a prepared thing, but I wanted to keep this one loose just to open the air. And I'll go back through the comments and see if there's enough interest to do a part 2. But we have more to say on this, but we don't want to beat a dead horse. thanks for the comments. Like everybody's on the same page, basically. I think that, you know, the infighting will probably subside. And when it comes up again, we'll do our part, hopefully, just not to air it. I'm going to try to go through some questions.
Yeah, there's
here.
so many great comments. So many. It was over 100 in chat.
Yeah, I know. This is the most we've ever had. Is it the clickbait title, guys? Is the title too clickbaity? Can I get some feedback on that? On a scale of 0 to Andrew Gold, how did I do on that thing? See, there I go again. I said I wasn't going to do it, and I did it, guys. But like I said, we're all here. That's a total joke.
Backflash.
Hey, I want to say something about that too. I was holding on to that shit for a while, you know, because like I said, it's my opinions haven't changed necessarily about the people. I still have my opinions about certain people, but what happened is my viewpoint, my thinkingness expanded where what the fuck does it not only matter? The big picture is everybody has something to offer. Of course, we're going to have differences. Why don't we just focus on Scientology, and anything else can just be handled without spewing it and using the influencer influence to get everybody else to start creating things. And like I said, guys, the thing that inspired this thing this week is feeling bad for freaking Tony, man, because he's like putting out this bitchin' reporting. He's had innuendos thrown at him. And again, Aaron's taking care of that. You know, he handled it perfectly, in my opinion, but yet it just goes on because it was mentioned. So if we never mention it, handle it back channels, we keep the flow and the thrust on Scientology, and it couldn't be more powerful today than it is, not least because of Aaron's help.
Yeah,
so show Tony a little bit of slack, man. The dude's been reporting on Scientology forever. I told you guys, he and Aaron both blocked me in the past on Facebook. We've had our issues, but we worked them out. It doesn't freaking matter in the big picture. And I'm speaking to myself more than anybody else too. I'm not trying to be on my freaking high horse. And like I said, Marcus, if you have any overs or withholds you like to get off, no, I'm just kidding. You can tell Aaron is growing and that he has people like Mike, Mark, and Claire that keep him in check. I think that Aaron would have lost credibility that's a great point. If he didn't have, dude, it's amazing to watch everybody growing, myself included. And I think a lot of that is because of his help and all of us having to interact on a level that never happened before. So it is coalescing the community. Like I said, Aaron had me blocked on Facebook at one point. And then he reached out to me out of the blue and we had a very civil discussion. And that, to me, in Scientology, blew the charge with him simply by that gesture. And they also say in Scientology, not to get people into it, but I like the concept, communication is a universal solvent. So I bet you if Aaron and Chris, or maybe even Tony, just sat down and talked about it, you know, had a one-on-one, got on FaceTime or whatever, I bet you they can clear it up in 2 seconds. So much gets spread and a lot of stuff gets held onto by doing videos back and forth when you could just simply talk to the person behind the scenes. We are SPTV. Exactly, Colonel. You make some very, very funny comments, by the way.
I know. Did you see the one?
He's so funny, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude. I thought he was serious.
Tell me the one. I'll bring it up.
Doug, Aaron called you a sissy boy flamer. And then he says JK.
It's all right. Yeah, he's funny. I was asked about the weigh-ins thing. Colonel, it's great having you in the chat, bro. Marcus, is there anything you wanted to cover since I've been rambling forever? Do you guys have any questions about we try to keep these to an hour, and since we are at an hour, I'm going to go through and answer any final questions. But what we could do in part 2, and let me know in the comments, guys, afterwards, it helps spread the video, which is the point, so people can see them and get the fuck out of the cold. And also really would like to know if you would like to see the presentation and go into a part 2. And that would be specifically having to do with the celebrity circle that we hinted at. Like I said, Marcus ran with them on staff. I ran with these people in the cult. And there's a lot to say about that. If you want, again, not tabloid shit about Danny and stuff, but I can answer questions because those people were in my freaking acting class. And it was a whole dark, weird. When I look back at this, Marcus, the acting class, Bobby Lyons, the Mastersons, Laura Prepon, there is a dark, dark energy there, bro. And the reason I know that is because I've been out of it so long and deprogrammed quite a bit, but there's always more to go, that I can actually recognize there's something about that evil environment that is you literally, I physically feel. It's really scary when I think back to that acting class, for example, that I was in that was 70% Scientologists, and most of them were these people. I'm not trying to put them down. I too was a Scientologist, but we started this off with Scientology makes you into a secondary sociopath. And who knows if Danny would even be in the position that he's in if he wasn't quote unquote made that way. I don't
Right.
know, but I'm not surprised about, there's a lot of this kind of stuff that went on, guys. It's covered up. This is just one, and he's famous, but there is very evil shit that goes on that I was completely oblivious of, had totally justified, and couldn't suss until I got the fuck out. That's why I say every time we talk on the phone, Marcus, anybody that gets out, give yourself a fucking pat on the back, because it's hard to do. You could still be in there for the rest of your life, and it takes a lot of work to decompress from this freaking thing. And that's why I'm harping on just so much about making it a safe community, because the last thing we need is to battle with exes. We do need a safe place to land. And I didn't feel, and I'm sure Marcus would back me up, we didn't feel we had that before. And other exes know what I'm talking about too. And that's changing. So we have an opportunity to really put the pedal to the metal. Doug, do you have any contagion elements of empathy? Ann Hatta, I think people won't know what the hell we're talking about. That's in reference to HG and the different categories he breaks down. HG Tudor is a self-aware narcissistic psychopath, which he's done 11 interviews on. I would say absolutely. I didn't score very high on the contagion. Just what she's talking about, people, is the ability to feel someone else's emotions. That's my Achilles heel. That's what got me in trouble with my family. That's why I became an artist. That's what both helped me get in touch deeply with my characters or whatever, so I could not act it out, but literally like live it on stage. So that was a good thing. But at the same time, it makes living and just being in kind of a sick world really, really challenging, because I do feel and see things I feel that affect me deeply, where my mates are going, it's a problem, dude. What are you talking about? Just live. So yeah, as an answer to that.
Right.
And I'm sure you feel the same way on Hatta, right? Or else you wouldn't ask that. Do you feel the emotions of everybody, Marcus, or do you just smoke a lot of weed and just blank out?
Is it not obvious? This is all hail the Hypnotoad. All glory to the Hypnotoad.
Hypnotoad. Now that's a movie idea.
Dude, I'd watch it too. I'd watch the Hypnotoad go blah with the eyes going.
Literally, because you were experiencing the flashbacks and stuff, right? So you really saw Hubbard and shit like transform into
what?
Or what are you talking about? Hypnotoad? Are you talking about Miscavige or Hubbard?
That's a Futurama reference.
Oh, dude, I don't watch cartoons. I'm almost 50, bro. Boom, shakalaka.
Okay.
Just fucking with you there, dude. I had asked at the DM trial if the DM trial was being discussed in LA by the general public. I think you missed it. Not sure how you catch any with lots going on, but if so, they're generally support for the victims. I don't quite understand that question. Do you, Marcus?
Okay, let's go here. I had asked if Danny Masterson trial was being discussed in Los Angeles by the general public. But if so, is there general support for the victims? That's, I think what she's asking is in the LA general public, like, was there support? Like, because in LA, like, everyone's doing their own thing and trying to like climb to the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, do people even give a shit about these victims, or is it just another thing that happens in LA because it's LA?
Good question.
I think it's probably the latter. Unfortunately, like, if they did the trials somewhere else, which didn't they do that? Didn't they do some of the trials?
No, not the Masterson. It's been in LA.
Well, if they did it in some other place, the victims would probably get a lot more support and help from the authorities. As we said earlier, the annual Christmas show.
I gotta show you that guy. I'll get a clip of that next time.
At least $3 million a year.
Wow, really? They pulled in that much, bro?
Oh yeah, they pull in from donors. and the donors are like friends of celebrities in LA. So like, $3 million is not that much went to those people.
Yeah, you're right. But I didn't know they made that much at that freaking thing, man.
Yeah, $2 to $3 million. 2003, 2004, it was like $2 to $3 million per year. So
what he's talking
with
about,
inflation, I don't know, maybe it's 5-6 now.
That is chump change for Scientology, but
chump change.
Wow, though.
They got billions. So, they don't even really, it's not even like, it's like a 15% gratuity fee. It's not even like they're over tipping. They're just like, here, gratuity, because it's constant, right?
Exactly. And also it kills two birds with one stone because it gets the police in their pocket as well.
Yeah, and it also helps the police like focus on not to diminish these victims, but like these are 3 people or however many. It's a small amount compared to the kind of crime you're dealing with in LA. So,
which is the question that Jay Dice asked. Yes, Jay Dice, undoubtedly, because it's in LA, it's just another scandal, and LA is famous for that. I think it would have a hell of a lot more appeal if it was like in Ohio or something, right?
Trav's late. He's way late. You're gonna
Did
have to
he
watch.
just okay?
Yeah,
You're going to ethics, young man. That's completely unacceptable. You're his brother, for Christ's sake. You should be here earlier, man.
No, we went to a funeral earlier this week, and he got sick, and we're both kind of like. It's been one of those rough weeks, you know. We both had to take bereavement, so
I feel you, brother. I know you guys don't know, but
I think we did excellent for what everything was going on this week. In the beginning of the week, we were like, "Is it going to happen or not?"
I know,
but,
dude. Thanks for showing up because you didn't have
Yeah.
to. I told you, I'll just jump on here and cover your ass if you can. But I really appreciate you coming on.
You got to keep it consistent, you know.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And also, I was just busting your balls. You know that, Marcus, right?
Me? Oh yeah, yeah. Same with
Everybody
Travis.
watch card. The
Travis
Simpsons
like,
are
sorry, I had to
cartoons.
work. No shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Some people actually have lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rocky Road. Because I do feel bad for the freaking guy, man. Can't we all just get along? Thank you for speaking up for Tony. Many ex-Scientologists say they've had issues with him, but they still see the value in what he does. Tony writes articles that are run by major publications. Exactly. Like I said, we don't have to like anybody. Yeah. We can have our opinions, personal opinions, but look at the contributions.
Look at the moon.
Everybody
don't
makes.
Look at the finger. Look at the moon.
Not the twigs. Remember the forest. Oh my God, there's so many freaking questions here. I was yeah, okay, so you want to do Saturday. You know what, guys? That might be a good idea because I'm trying to pull up the Christmas story from Tony. He's the one that did the videos on those, and I can't go through his whole channel right now, and they're not coming up in a search. So that's what we'll start out with, the Christmas stories for tomorrow. Let's meet the same bat time, same bat place, 2 p.m. PST. That's here in California. That would be
CST here.
Okay.
Yep.
4 CST, 5 in Florida time, and 10 p.m. in the UK.
Yep.
But there's too much to go through already. I'm gonna correlate my notes.
So we'll do backflash tomorrow at those times.
Saturday. Perfect. Let me just see if there's any. It's just this one's been overwhelming. I mean, we usually get like 30 people, and there's like 100 now. Let me go through these questions, guys. This is perfect time to end off. We hit the hour. I'll correlate them. We'll start out with what we're talking about the Christmas story stuff, and then we'll do our little presentation that we have. But I'm really glad that in this one, we nipped the infighting out of the butt. That's the thing that was on my attention. We covered that, and now we can dive more into the celebrity click because there's a hell of a lot to say about that. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the session, Marcus?
My needle is floating.
Excellent. End of session. Actually, we got to get you over to the examiner as well.
The test, right?
Guys, I'm going to take him over to a test. I actually feel like this isn't a floating needle. I can see he's non-VG eyes. So we'll take care of that, and we'll see you on the flip side.